Guess what we saw? Whoa! The star of the movie.
Slimer butt.
Can't show that.
Went in the theater, saw that immediately, like, what is it? I want it. I think it's a popcorn bucket.
So we got popcorn.
Yeah.
That's what you want to hear in the review, right? Did they get popcorn?
Well, how was the popcorn? I'd give it maybe a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It was alright.
Yeah,
it was above
nice
average.
and salty.
Yeah.
The Ghostbusters are finished.
Right, well, overruled.
I think we should start things off by saying this won't be a spoiler-free review.
No.
Just so people know.
We're going to talk about everything. Everything.
Here's the ending of the movie. Here's how many people die. Oh my god.
Some people die.
We might be looking at a second ice age. The army of ghosts. The power to kill by fear itself.
Here's how they killed each Ghostbuster.
Yeah. They killed them all off.
Yeah. They were like, no! They fell off a building, and then one of them was impaled. Stay Puft ate one of them.
And then just Paul Rudd played the clip from Mac and Me where Eric falls down in the wheelchair.
Literally. He falls in a wheelchair off and then he dies, and that's how it was an homage.
They killed him off too. Now we killed off all the originals, we'll kill the new ones too, because we're starting fresh.
Yeah. Next generation. And then the 2016...
The next generation.
Yeah, and then the 2016 Ghostbusters popped out, and they're like, our time to shine.
We're back.
And there were boos in the theater.
We're back!
What's that? What? Wait, why? Ow.
Stop resisting.
Cabbages and tomatoes. There was only us and 2 other people, but somehow there was floods of vegetables.
They all came in to be outraged. No idea it'd be so much, I won't pay it.
I had no idea it'd be so much, I won't pay it.
They haven't gotten that guy back.
Yeah.
They got the library guy.
Is that actor still around?
I think.
Man, they need to get that guy in there.
Yeah.
They got the library guy back. Surely they could get Hotel Man.
That was the big get in this movie. They got the library guy. It was funny that they got the library guy. I was much happier with the tone of this movie overall than Afterlife. Like, I get why Afterlife is the way it was, because it's kind of setting up this new universe, and is kind of a melancholy story because it's about Egon's death and whatnot.
Yeah, a lot of it was about death and the afterlife and legacy.
I know it's kind of a divisive movie. I liked it, even though, going forward though, I want something more akin to the tone of the original Ghostbusters.
Yeah, less melancholy, a little overly reverent in the last movie, but I get why.
Yeah, it made sense for the story they're telling, but it's like, okay, as a jumping off point, now you can have a little bit more fun, and that's what they did in this movie.
Yeah. I had a good time. It was fun. There was a cast of 1 million people, but they tried to give everyone something. Some actors didn't get as much to do, but I feel like it still felt like everyone sort of had something.
Definitely Ray and Winston out of the original team got the most to do in this movie.
Oh, definitely. I think part of that had to be Bill Murray not wanting to do that much, which is fine, because he had 2 movies where he was basically the main character. But I feel like they did get a lot to do. It was nice that it was, what is their story now, versus like, well, it's over because they're old.
Yeah,
So
I'm glad that was not it.
Yeah, so part of the story was because of their age, like they're retired, what do they do now? But they incorporated that into the story, so it felt like they're continuing on their path, and it's not just like, well, it's the new people now.
And it's nice you got to see them interact more with the new cast from Afterlife.
Yeah, like
Podcast is hanging out with Ray, making videos with him.
Yeah, they had like relationships building, so it didn't just feel like, ooh, these are the like guys on the pedestals that did it before, you know?
Yeah.
This different generation, they are nice people, but they're not as much fun as we are, you know that.
I like that it was integrated in this.
Once again,
and of course Winston runs Ghostbusters, so he's very heavily involved with the new team.
Yeah, Winston saving the day all the time.
Yeah.
The coolest once again. And he gives Ray a talking to, because he goes on an adventure with the kids and they get in danger, and he's just like, well, you're endangering yourself and you're endangering these kids. You need to think about what you can do now and, play this smart, you know? It was great.
It wasn't really Ray's fault, though, because that was very unexpected what happened at the library.
To get something transcribed or whatever, but, I guess it...
He wasn't expecting to have a big ghost-busting adventure going to the library that
he
time.
didn't expect a statue to come to life.
Though, I mean, no one's called about that library ghost. How long has she been there? I assume she got out, after the containment unit blew up.
That's like 30 years prior.
So it's just no one's had a problem with that librarian ghost.
They had to do the callback, okay? I do feel like there was a little too much, let's do the first movie again. In some parts
feel that
of it,
as much in this one. Like,
they
I
had
thought
to
that was
have the
Afterlife.
they had to have the big sky beam come up.
They had the sky beam, but I mean,
they
that's
had to do the
because
library ghost.
Baraka was releasing all the
library.
ghosts.
Yeah, I just feel like there was one too many things where they were doing that again, where it's like, you don't need to, because you have all these other characters, you have these other stories building up that you don't really need to repeat some of these beats that we've seen in a few movies now.
Yeah, I mean, had they not done it as much in Afterlife, I feel like what they did in this movie wouldn't be any problem, but because they did so much in Afterlife, okay, you can lighten up on it a bit. I'm glad at least they mentioned Ghostbusters 2 in this one as well, because it was weird how unmentioned anything to do with that was in Afterlife. It was also weird, though, apparently the Ray Parker Jr. music video happened in universe.
I do kind of like the idea that they did the music video with him in universe. Like, they're like, oh, hell yeah, all right, do the dance.
They had that in one of the commercials for
like toys.
Yeah, for one of the toys. And it's like, that's just weird that happened. Like, I guess.
Yeah.
Why not make toys on it in universe? We know, though, that's not how Winston made his money. He made his money off Pokemon cards. He comes in, he's like, look at all these shadowless Charizards. That's how I started my company.
And then Ray's like, I invested in Beanie Babies. Boy, was I wrong.
That's why I am keeping your damn business afloat, Ray. I told you to get into Pokemon.
No, you can't invest in those damn Beanie Babies. What did I tell you in the 90s?
Pokemon's the future, man.
Pokemon's the future.
What did you do, Ray? Oh, shit.
You not see me in that unofficial Pokemon video?
I like at one point, speaking of the 90s, where they really need a light. And Ray's like, I quit smoking in the 90s.
I'm proud of you then, proud of you now.
Yeah, Peter had some good lines once he came in. It's kind of like an extended cameo for Peter and Janine.
Yeah.
It's all dark and horny at 12 o'clock.
Which I think was all right, because there was a lot of other people that had things to do. But it wasn't as much of a cameo as in the last one. Where they got to do a bit more. Yeah.
I like Janine had her Power Glove proton pack thing.
Yeah.
I wish you got to see that a little bit more. You get to see Janine suited up like you did in real Ghostbusters. So that was nice. They also had Ecto-1 get possessed briefly, which is also a real Ghostbusters episode where that happened.
Right, yeah. When we were talking about things that felt too much like callbacks, the thing that felt too much to me, even though it was a very funny character, was the Flame Master, being the key master.
You will perish in flame! You and I will
What an asshole.
The Flame Master?
Kumail Nanjiani was the actor who played him.
Yeah, the character was really funny, and I feel like they utilized him well, but it did feel like it was just doing the Keymaster thing again, and I feel like there's so many other ways that you could do these big bad ghosts and the things around it than repeating some of these things.
They had him wear the colander and stuff, and Peter was interviewing him like they did Lewis, but I did like in this one, it kind of seems like Peter's being a doof, but he's doing it to a point because he sees the flame flame is rising, the angrier he gets him.
Yeah, there was a point to what he was doing. He wasn't just saying one-liners, like he was moving the story along, even though he wasn't like a main focus.
Can I be of any help?
But not all of the new characters were focuses either.
No.
And I'm not going to remember anyone's names. Sorry. Finn Wolfhard's girlfriend. I think it was Lucky or something.
Yeah, Lucky.
She was a pretty big part in Afterlife, and here it's basically an extended cameo. But I mean, she was fine. She was part of like the team that Winston had going, where they're studying ghosts.
Yeah, it was really cool. He had another guy too, who's kind of like British Egon, helping him out.
Yeah, I thought he was interesting. He was new to this one, right? I don't remember him being in the other one.
New.
And I thought like he was an interesting character to add, but didn't take too much focus away.
No.
It seemed like he was kind of the adult in charge with the kids studying the ghost when Winston wasn't around.
I'm glad you saw, I guess, like some of Winston's extended Ghostbusters team. That's what I wanted to see, in these movies too, is like the expansion of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And he did get that.
Yeah. There was the part where Peck is there. Peck's in this movie.
Peck's the mayor now.
He's the mayor now. He's mad at them because of the library incident, and he goes after Phoebe. I do remember her name.
Yeah.
He's confronting them, and there's all these adults around, including Winston, and Winston starts like, hey, back off, man. And then she says something, and then all of a sudden it's like the beef is between Peck and her, and I'm like, has there not been like 3-4 decades of stuff between him and Winston? But it's like, oh no, you are the new main, so I will argue with the 15-year-old girl, and it's like, what?
You have a miner hanging out the side of a moving vehicle.
Why is it suddenly shifted to this in this scene?
Yeah, he's trying to shut down Ghostbusters again. They have an argument with him earlier too, where he's, arguing that Phoebe shouldn't be doing this because she's a minor. It's kind of weird because he focuses in on Paul Rudd. He's yelling at him, like, are you her father? Well, like, you don't really have any place to be saying anything to do with her. Well, her mother is like a couple feet away and she has nothing to say to her.
I don't know why.
I thought that was really weird.
Yeah, some characters it feels like they should be parts of scenes that they aren't, and they're just kind of standing there like, They had sort of a confrontation at the ending, when again they're kind of repeating some of the ends where it's like, yeah, Ghostbusters, but it's still like, it was still
a
cool.
direct callback, them doing the Ghostbusters chant and stuff.
Yeah. But it was cool when Winston's like, yeah, we're the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And you're like, hell yeah, you are.
I like, too, that Peck's coming to yell at them, but then it's like, he has to pretend he's cool with them because go with the crowd.
Yeah. Pretty good.
The beginning of this movie, it's the Spanglers are running the main ghost-busting operation out of the firehouse while Winston's running more of the research and stuff over in another facility.
Welcome to the new Paranormal Research Center.
You just let ghosts hang out in here?
I like that there was a plot point about the fact they've been stuffing ghosts in this one containment unit since the 80s.
Yeah,
and it's like, it's getting a little full now. Yeah, we didn't really think about that back then. Oops.
I think they did a really good job of bringing some of the creepy back into Ghostbusters in this one.
Yeah.
Like, I thought the last one they did better tone-wise than the 2016 one and trying to balance scary and funny.
Gozer rips J. Jonah Jameson in half.
Right, yeah. They had that. And I thought, like, the opening scene for this one was really good when it was the early 1900s at the firehouse, and they have this, like, adventurers club where they collect a bunch of artifacts, and they've collected this ball that's imprisoned this ghost demon god of sorts, and these firemen come in there, and they find the whole room just frozen, and they have the one guy whose hand has broken off.
Yeah.
And is just still on the, like, box as it's, like, repeating this creepy chant.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really effective.
Yeah, I thought Garaka was pretty creepy, too.
Yeah.
Like when it comes and sticks its horns back on and stuff. When you first see its face, too, in the clouds and stuff, it's very creepy. It's not Baraka, it's Garaka.
Garaka. Different.
Maybe friends with Baraka, we don't know.
He wouldn't be friends with Baraka.
No one's friends with Baraka.
They have an interesting plot point with a ghost who is a more humanized ghost. They haven't played with that very much outside of Spangler, where they had his ghost show up, but he didn't say anything.
You saw it in real Ghostbusters, but not as much in the proper movie.
But in the movie universe, I can't think of anything.
We saw like the jogger in 2, but not a lot of interaction.
I can't think of any examples from the movies where it was ghosts that just talked like people. Because you've seen them, but they didn't have any lines. And this is the only one I can think of where it's just like a person. Which, I don't know, it felt like it was gonna lead to a conflict of, hey, we're imprisoning these things, and some of them are... There's people, right? Like they were people at some point. Some of them are weird, slimy goobers, but I guess that's what ghosts are.
Yeah, I think they could play with that a bit more, like real Ghostbusters did.
But I guess
like the fact that some ghosts were there to do something good before they moved on.
Casey Jones was an engineer. He died in a train wreck, so I figured his ghost wouldn't rest until he'd set things right. By preventing a train wreck, he wanted to save someone's life, not take it.
Yeah, but I guess maybe that's sort of what's implied is that there's bad ghosts and there's good ghosts, and they're not just trapping any of them.
In the end, that's what that ghost was there to do. She was there to do something important before she moved on.
Yeah, but I mean, they got called into that diner, and that's when Phoebe and podcast, right? When they go into that diner just to get rid of the ghost, and it turns out to be this ghost girl that Phoebe's made friends with. But it's like she's just sitting there doing nothing. So it's like, do they just go in and bust any ghost they're called to bust?
I don't know.
Ethics.
I guess
What are the ethics of this?
Maybe
Winston
they go
didn't
in
seem
and
to care about them keeping these things and torturing them. What's going on here?
Guess we don't know. Maybe there's more interactions where they came to do that, and then they're like, oh, actually, this ghost isn't malicious, so they just kind of let it move on. I don't know.
I guess. I mean,
you can assume a lot of things happen that we've never seen.
They seem to let
you have to fill it in yourself.
They seem to let the little Stay Puffs do their thing, but they aren't against experimenting on them, which I don't know. But I guess they're kind of, impish. They can get into some mischief, so maybe they deserve what they're getting. Yeah.
Damn little Stay Puffs.
Get out of our merchandise.
So we saw
know why they made
too.
you.
There's a bunch of little mini puffs.
Yeah, little shoulder buddies. Stick them to your shoulder.
But we're like, we want the Slimer popcorn bucket.
Yeah, Slimer got a big role in this one. I feel like this is the biggest role he's had since the first movie.
Yeah.
And the most plot important. I mean, I guess in the first one it was kind of plot important, but...
Yeah, I guess some of it was kind of a bit like the largely cut down plot where Lewis was trying to catch Slimer in Ghostbusters 2.
Right.
So they have Finn Wolfhard trying to catch him during parts of this movie, but Slimer actually saves the day from this possessor ghost after it gets in a proton pack, which is a pretty dangerous situation. Almost fries Paul Rudd's face off when he rushes in to save Phoebe, but luckily the Fire Master is there to save the day on that too. Mm-hmm. And then they smash the proton pack and it jumps into a pizza. And cue the hero Slimer.
Our hero! He saved the day! And then Bankman comes in, he's like, I always loved that little smug.
No!
I did like Slimer's intro. It was basically that Real Ghostbusters episode.
Where he's in all the food.
Yeah, where he sees him just laying in the trash and like, ugh!
Slimer!
It was pretty much Finn Wolfhard's reaction.
The proper Slimer reaction. He's sort of like an anti-hero, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he's gross, but he's useful.
Yeah.
That's the perfect use for Slimer.
Like after Slimer eats the pizza ghost, he's like, I know that guy!
Yeah, that's pretty good. They had some genuinely really funny lines in this.
I still don't think it got quite as funny as Ghostbusters 1 and 2, but it's a lot funnier than Afterlife because it's a lighter movie. I thought it did have a lot of good jokes.
We're the Ghostbusters. Can I tell you something else? What? Buster makes me feel good. Makes me feel good.
It was a better tone, like it felt like it was scary and it was funny. It wasn't overly sad. There's some sad parts to it. Mm-hmm. I feel like
Phoebe's story has some sad parts at points, especially once the ghost girl betrays her because she's working for Garaka first.
Yeah.
Tricks her into ripping her soul out of her body because Garaka needs a human to do the chant, so...
Yeah, but she suggested it. Phoebe suggested she could do that.
I don't know, maybe Garaka can see how things could play out because she's trying to lead her, I guess, to doing something like this.
It did feel like she didn't know that was a possibility till Phoebe brought it up, so I'm not really sure how...
Yeah, I don't know what the other options were to get her to accidentally chant that.
I mean, they had a possessor ghost. Other ghosts can possess people, so could not melody
Yeah, I don't know if
possessor.
the possessor
and use the
ghost
voice.
would be able to talk as her. If it
I
got in
guess
her
like because
body.
I guess when Zool did it was just the Zool voice, right? Like they don't usually use the people voices.
Yeah, I'm not sure technicalities.
And the cutscene on
Like,
the
no, Garaka, that doesn't count.
What about the cutscene in 2 when Ray's possessed? Was it his voice or was it?
Yeah, it kind of turned into Vigo's because you're like, no, I Ray, I'm Vigo.
How did they know that it was going to make her like her body talk when her ghost was talking?
Yeah, I don't know.
That didn't seem like the norm.
No, I don't know why I thought like, yeah, she'll obviously be like, I need to rip my soul out to hang out with you in the astral plane for a little bit.
I guess that kind of worked because 15-year-olds, even if they're geniuses, make dumb decisions. So I guess
that was what it's all banking on.
Yeah. Like, I gotta get a dummy to do this.
She'll make a dumb call eventually.
Yeah.
She's really smart, but she's not street smart like Garaka.
Yeah. He's like, I don't know your book smarts, but I know your street smarts.
Like, too, that this started just because the fire master comes to sell junk to Ray. He's just like, I want to get rid of the stuff my grandmother had. And Ray's like, oh, what's this ball? Oh, yeah, it's a really special $50? $60?
Have it for 40.
I've never seen anything like this at all.
60.
I don't have any change, bye. This character was really funny, and it was that's I think what works about Ghostbusters, having these unconventional characters that have to save the world in some way.
Mm-hmm.
You got your geniuses, you got the people that are just looking for jobs, you got like the idiots that just happen to be nearby.
I did like, there was a large plot about Ray. He doesn't want to give this up. He's still in on it. And Winston has that big talk with him at one point. And like, it's supposed to be like our golden years, man. He's like, yeah, but this is what I love doing. So I still want to do this. It was cool that Ray actually had a plot because none of them really had much of a plot besides the goodbye with Egon at the end.
It was kind of rich coming from Winston being like, you need to do this differently when he was trapping dangerous ghosts to study them and torture them.
We've spent 40 years trapping them. Now we can study them.
And he's like, I'm not around. I'll let the other guys do it. But maybe that was the point he was getting to. He's like, you can do this, but you're not as young as you used to be. Some of these things can get dangerous. Some of these kids are too young to be doing this. So there's a place for you here somewhere. Mm-hmm. Which I guess was nice too. They were saying like there is a place for them not to step aside, but figure out how to do this in a way that works for you now.
I also saw Patton Oswalt at the library at a cameo as a character with a bunch of wax recordings, which is what the chant was recorded on.
So cool.
His character was fun. They had like a fun animation where they're going over like the stone carvings and telling the story about Garaka.
Yeah, they should have just had Patton Oswalt though stand in the background.
Yeah, that would have been good. Was he not in the 2016 one? I kind of feel like he was.
I don't know. He did a voice in a Ghostbusters VR game where he's like the logo ghost.
What is he not in? Patton Oswalt. He's got some good connections. He's just cameos and everything. But he was good. I like when he used fudge.
Yeah, the fudge.
Yeah, what the fudge is wrong with you? It was nice too, the humor in this one versus the 2016 one. They don't have the improv-orama type stuff, which is what works because, like, I'm sure there were things that were improvised that might have been kept in, but you just gotta reel it in and edit. You can't just keep everything in and let it ramble. Like, it felt like there's a scary moment and then someone says something funny, and then it doesn't hang on it, like it's just funny because of the contrast, like. So they had a lot of like good moments in that. I liked when the lion got possessed and afterwards.
I liked when Ray's like reaching for the wax recording and then you see the lion's turned its head to him. I thought that's pretty well.
It was tense but also funny, so that was cool. And then like afterwards, after they've destroyed the statue, when Winston is just upset that they've destroyed it, like kids love seeing that lion when they go to the library. It's so hard to get kids to the library.
Very important part of our first movie. That's why we called back to it, Ray.
They have this part where they have to do something with the containment unit. I forget what, but like Ray is explaining what they have to do.
He's going to turn it into a giant trap, basically.
Yeah, okay. So that's what they're doing, and he's trying to explain it. And then Venkman is just like, just do it, we trust you.
Yeah, I don't care, just do it, we trust you. Yeah. I like that he yelled, I trust you, too.
Yeah, because it's like, it's funny, but it's also like, you can feel that these characters have been friends for 40 years, and like, he trusts them when the world is ending to know what to do. So that was
some
cool.
Nice character bits.
It was a nice moment of sincerity, too, because I feel like even in the first two movies, I don't know if you would get Venkman just saying, we trust you. Because his character is like very like guarded. He doesn't really have a lot of like...
Yeah, he kind of deflects a lot with humor.
Yeah, so it was nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
But it wasn't like a big speech. It was just a moment that felt true.
Mm-hmm. Like Paul Rudd's character too is a little more serious in this one because part of his plot's learning where he kind of fits in Phoebe's life as a sort of father figure. Mm-hmm. So he has to be a bit more serious, even though he still has some funny bits in there. So that was nice. They gave him more.
He's less of like a goofy goober.
He's not a gooberson. He's a Spangler now. Yeah, Gruberson.
Yeah, it was nice. Like he was learning how to be a dad, and like how do you sometimes you got to be mean and sometimes you got to be kinder, and like how do you not be their friend but be their father.
Part of this Garaka stuff that binds him is like copper and brass, so Phoebe like rigs up a proton pack to shoot basically kind of a brass beam. I like that it was green, like when you hold like a penny or something too long, gets your hand green.
Oh, is that what that was?
I don't know. I thought like if that was the reason they made it green, like, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they were distinguishing it. I don't know why she just did it to one of the packs. And
I thought she did it to more.
I thought it was all of them, but then they start doing it, and then she's like, "It's not going to work," and it's like, shouldn't they know that? They had this whole thing where she's talking about rigging up.
Yeah, I was a little confused,
especially with Ray. That's who she was talking to about that, and then they cut one of the poles, and again they had to do you got to try this pole thing, which again they don't need to do everything, but they used it as part of the story.
Hey, does this pole still work? Wow, this place is great.
The pole, it still worked. It killed Garaka.
They killed him with the pole and Slimer, and all of it came together.
Yeah. The mini puffs didn't really help.
No. They got a
no help from
scene.
Stay Puft.
Yeah, they got a mid-credit scene. If you are...
They just stole a Stay Puft marshmallow tray.
Yeah.
Stay Puft marshmallows, how are they still in business? Are they they're leaned into the fact, like, we almost destroyed New York.
Yeah, if you have a disaster of that magnitude, can you really continue your business? I don't know.
I kind of like that they had this little containment zoo, I guess, to study some of the ghosts.
Yeah, it was cool to see how it evolved, which is nice, because it needs to evolve with the times. It isn't just like some people with proton packs. It's like, well, what can we do with this? And Winston, thinking smarter, not harder. How do we study these things to make ourselves more efficient?
And they had done that in the game, because they had Slimer in a box like that. You could see him
in there.
Kept Slimer in the box. They also had the Vigo painting. Remember, you could go and talk to the Vigo painting.
And then the Vigo business is still going. And like,
why?
I don't know, man.
That was another thing. Is like, how did the Vigo painting get back? Because it turned into that Renaissance picture of the Ghostbusters.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. You have to ask the people who made Ghostbusters 3, the game.
Yeah. That's way off topic.
At no point did Slimer eat popcorn. He did eat a lot of snacks, though. He liked Flamin' Hot Cheetos. That's what all the kids are into.
Yeah, he's disgusting. Yeah, I get he likes Flaming Hot, though, because he was a good guy in this movie, and the bad guy's all about ice.
Oh, that's what they're doing!
It felt a little different, even though it was in New York again. I thought they used things a bit different to change it up a bit. I'd like to see some more that are in different locations, but I thought like making it ice-based and stuff changed things.
Yeah, we've had all but one of the movies in New York at this point. This and Afterlife did a good job of blending modern with 80s stuff in a way that it has nostalgia to it, but it's still taking place now. But I feel like mixing those things, it gave it that flavor of feeling like old Ghostbusters, but not being entirely that. So
it wasn't just for nostalgia, Ray.
Yeah, like when Ray is filming a YouTube video and then telling people to like and subscribe. Pretty good.
Yeah, the podcast told me to say this.
Podcast. Like and subscribe. He was really mean to that old lady who he smashed her watch.
I guess that must be the gimmick of the show, so people must have to know they're gonna do that.
Yeah, he did say it gets the views when podcast smashed it.
Yeah.
It's interesting, they don't really go into the Ghostbusters, the old Ghostbusters lives outside of Ghostbusting. Like, I think, did Winston in Afterlife, he had a family, right?
I don't do it for me. I do it for my kids, and I want to be an example of what's possible.
He seems like the one that would have a family and, like, balance all that out. And then Ray seems like the one that would just be perpetual bachelor. He's married to his job with the occults. And I guess
Peter's
Peter,
apparently still with Dana.
Yeah, they got together, so... But just interesting.
I wonder if they'll ever bother using Oscar, one of these.
I guess if they had a story that involved Dana and Venkman a little more.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
So, yeah, like I thought everyone sort of had something going on.
Yeah, it had a lot to balance, and I think overall it did it very well. And it felt like a Ghostbusters movie. I think this is the closest that any of the newer movies have felt like an original Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, like it was a good
like
time
the
at the
tone
theater.
and stuff. Yeah, I really enjoyed watching this movie.
So you liked it better than the last one, or?
Yeah, I liked it better than Afterlife. I like that there was a more serious one with Afterlife, but I wanted it to get on, to a lighter tone after that, and that's what they did. So it's pretty much exactly what I wanted to have a sequel to Afterlife.
Heck yeah.
And more of the integrating of the teams. That's what I wanted to see, and they gave Ray a good story. Winston was cool running everything.
High praise.
Pretty good.
Pretty high praise.
Praise from Slimer.
Even Slimer is one of the best Slimers.
Yeah.
You're talking about 2016 when they had Grohl Slimer? Come on, man.
Yeah, he doesn't need a family. Talking about people that have families. Slimer doesn't need a family.
Girlfriend? That's woke. I can't believe Slimer went woke.
Slimer's dead. He's not woke at all.
Slimer should stay asleep. That's why
sleep in his garbage pile. Ugh.
Ugh.